It's Wolf, and I have good news, I think. So far. So my internet seems to be back to normal, finally, which is good news. Sorry, this stream is a little bit of a mess because I had a bunch of issues setting this up aside from, like, internet speed, because that was the main issue for a while. Now, for some reason, I accidentally opened iMessage, and it doesn't want to close, even though I've hit quit on it like 4 times. I'm not even logged into iMessage on this computer. I don't know why it won't go away. Um, yeah, so for some reason, when I plugged my Elgato in, the USB-C port kind of like sparked a little bit, which was concerning. Um, I tried a different power strip, I tried a different USB-C cord and everything, and it seems fine, so I'm not that worried about it. It could very well be the fact that I think for one, it's dry in here, and for two, supposedly we're gonna get like a thunderstorm, and I know that sometimes that can maybe screw with stuff. So anyway, I'm just trying to make sure everything is all right, set up with the stream and everything, but it does seem, yeah, everything seems to be working fine. So yeah, this is the first streaming that I've done in like a month. If you guys haven't seen like any of the stuff where I had talked about, well, hang on, I'm still getting my windows all lined up and everything here. Okay, there, and then there, so I can monitor that, and we're good to go. Okay, and move my microphone over a little bit. Hang on. Okay, now I think I'm good. So if you guys haven't seen my videos recently, I wait, what car am I even in? What race was I doing? Oh, I know, wait, I know when my car is the wrong car. Okay, anyway, so I hadn't really done any streams in like a month because we got hit with a really big ice storm, and that kind of screwed a bunch of stuff up, and I made a couple of videos already talking about that. But the other thing is, so the internet was out for like a week or over a week where I live because of that ice storm, and then even when it came back on, the internet speed was all screwed up. Download speed was fine, but my upload speed was exceptionally slow. It was less than 1 megabit per second, which of course means that it was like impossible for me to stream, and also that uploading videos and stuff was taking forever. My theory about this is that I'm thinking the cause of it was that when they oh, hang on, give me a second, I'm gonna have to mute the music. Hang on, sorry, I gotta talk a bunch for a second here so that way like I don't get copyright struck. I was listening to some there we go. I was listening to some music while I was playing Forza Motorsport before. This is the original Forza Motorsport. I really like this game. Been trying to finish it. Been playing it on and off for like a really long time and just still haven't finished it yet. So anyway, my theory is that when they put the internet, like when they got the internet hooked back up, in order to kind of just get it working while they could kind of fix it more in depth, I'm thinking they maybe had to hook more households up to like the same like route of internet. Hang on, this race is not going well. And so long story short, I think more people were sharing like the same amount of bandwidth that don't normally share like that same bandwidth, and so I think that's why my upload speed was really slow, especially if they had to hook any like businesses up or anything that possibly use like a ton of upload. So yeah, but then earlier today I just decided to check it, and it seems to be mostly back to normal now, so now I can stream again, which is nice. And actually OBS even set my settings slightly higher, I think. I don't know if there will be a noticeable difference, but yeah, because I had messed around with a bunch of the OBS settings and had it do the auto detect just to set everything back up. And yeah, everything is set back up now. So this stream is probably not going to be especially long because it is super late for me. Luckily, I don't really have anything I have to do tomorrow, but yeah, I just wanted to do a stream because I was like, oh my goodness, internet's like back again, and I haven't streamed in a while, and yeah, so I've still, oh jeez. Okay, I might have to reset this race a lot because this is one of these races that I feel like if I'm not in first from the beginning, I'm probably going to lose. So I need to kind of stay in first. Um, but yeah, so I don't really have anything all too new that's happened since the thawing out video that I made, because normally I talk about real life stuff on the streams, and I had made those videos since I couldn't stream. Um, in that one video, so some job update stuff. Actually, well, okay, a little bit of stuff happened with my job and everything, which is kind of interesting. So, in the last video that I made, where I was talking about like the ice storm, and I was pretty much complaining that I had gotten written up in my job, and I thought it was kind of nonsense because like the reason I had gotten written up was because I had missed so many days during the ice storm, and I kind of told them like, bro, I literally did everything to come into work, including getting myself sent to the ER and damaging my car. And I still got written up for it. And it wasn't like a big write up, it was like kind of like a warning write up. And I got told multiple times, like, hey, you really don't need to worry about this. But I was still frustrated with it. So, um, even though the company that I work at is pretty small, we do have like a little HR department. It's only like a few people, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna email HR about this because I'm annoyed enough about this that I feel like I need to get them involved. So I emailed the HR department at my job and kind of explained the situation to them and just said that I think it's ridiculous, like still that this has happened, that I've gotten written up for this. And so my HR, one of the people from HR actually contacted me and met with me in person, and pretty much just sort of said the same thing that the managers like locally within where I work had said, um, but added to that they were glad that I shared the story with them because apparently upper management where I work has already been considering changing like the inclement weather policies and the time off policies, and so my story of the insane stuff that I had to deal with has perhaps pushed them even more into being more lenient with weather and also just generally with time off. So yeah, that was good news. But so anyway, I still have been looking for other jobs though, and I actually have an interview for once, which is weird because I have not really had very much luck hearing back from jobs in general. Even like the entire time I've been applying for jobs, even like after I graduated from college and stuff, I've not really heard back from anywhere. So to actually get an interview is kind of interesting. My mom, despite the fact that she has a really good job already, she just kind of looks around at like job listings just sort of for fun. And she had found this one, and she just wouldn't kind of let up on me about applying for it. And I was like, I don't know, like I don't really think I'm gonna get this, and I don't really know, you know. But anyway, I applied for it, and that's the job I have an interview at. So it's I'm not gonna get like too deep into it because y'all don't need to know where I might be working, but it's pretty much like an office job for like a government agency. And don't worry, it's not like a problematic agency or anything, because I know there's some people that might assume I'm being secretive about it because of that. But no, it's just like a normal like government agency. And like I said, it seems like a very kind of spreadsheet, phone call, office job type of thing, which would be kind of nice. But there are a couple of things that kind of concern me about it, so I need to, like, you know, they always ask you at interviews, do you have any questions about this job? And normally, I feel like I don't, because in the past I was just so concerned about getting a job. But now that I already have a job, and so I'm not like as desperate for a job, even though I'm a little frustrated with my current job, I definitely have some questions that need to be asked to this new possible job, before I would consider it, because there's a couple things that concern me about it. I think like there's good and bad, but I just want to play it safe. Like I don't want to jump into a new job just because I'm frustrated with my current job, and then end up regretting it in the long run. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. And then otherwise, there really hasn't been a ton of other stuff ever since the winter storm that has been unfixed as of yet. And I'm glad the internet is finally working again, because it was not only affecting me but like other family members too that have to like do like video conferencing stuff for their jobs and stuff. So it's nice that this is finally working again. I haven't dropped a single frame this stream yet. Uh-oh, and I've distracted myself. Yeah, so Forza Motorsport, I've been playing this a lot and trying to kind of finish this. There's a lot of stuff in this game. Something useful that I've found though, so later on in the game, I just unlocked them like last night. There's endurance races, which can kind of be a little frustrating if you're trying to finish a game, because sometimes endurance races in these in like simulation racing games are a little too realistic. It's gonna end up being a race that's gonna take you like an hour to finish. Um, and so I ended up figuring out, I kind of remembered that Forza Motorsport actually has drivatars, so you can train like an AI driver, and all the Forza games have some form of the whole drivatar thing in general. But so I trained a drivatar a while ago, and I mean I'm not like perfect at Forza Motorsport, but I'm pretty good at it. And so my drivatar is pretty good. And so when I unlocked the endurance races, it kind of hit me. I was like, wait a minute, I bet I can make my drivatar do endurance races while I go and like do something else. And so last night I tested that out. I set my drivatar up doing one of the longer endurance races, and then I went and like I was about to go to bed, so I like went and like brushed my teeth and stuff. And by the time I finished like getting ready for bed, I came back. My drivatar was almost done with the race. He was in first place and ahead of the previous car by like 20 seconds. Um, so yeah, the only thing that sucks is that when you do a drivatar for a race, it eats up a huge portion of how many credits you get from that race, which affects both how much you advance in levels, I believe, and also just how many credits you get to spend for later spending. Um, and so like when I did that race, it ate up. I think it paid. I don't even remember. It was like the race itself paid like 100,000 credits or something. The drivatar took like 80,000 of them. So that's not a perfect solution, but I do think for the endurance races, it can be really helpful to just like set that up and then go have lunch and then come back. Because I don't know. I mean, endurance races are a cool concept and everything, like especially in real life. But when I'm playing a video game, you know, I don't necessarily want to spend an hour trying to finish one race. Um, I've also been, so I don't even know if I got to mention this on stream because it's been so long since I did a stream. I finally finished watching a TV show that I was watching too. I got a DVD a while ago of this show called Roller Girls, and it's a TV show about roller derby that A&E made back in I think it came out in 2006, but the show itself takes place in 2005. It's a reality show, and it's one of those reality shows where it's sort of hard to tell how much of it's scripted because like some of it's really kind of goofy. Some of the people in it are a little strange. And it's hard to tell at times if they're legitimately like that or if they're playing it up for the camera. But anyway, it was kind of an interesting show. It only got one season, and I understand why it only got one season, but it was an interesting watch. The one season that it did have though, it's hour-long episodes, and it's like 13 to 15. I don't remember entirely how many episodes there are, but there's quite a few episodes of it. So it took me a pretty good while to actually finish watching that show. I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend running out and like buying a copy of it if you find a copy of Roller Girls, but it is an interesting concept for a show. And some of the people in it, I kind of wonder like, what are they doing today? Actually, one of the girls that show follows, I googled her name and ended up finding her LinkedIn profile, which was kind of interesting. She has like a way more serious career now too, which is kind of wild. So it was kind of interesting. But yeah, and then so I finished that, and then I was like, you know, is there any other shows that I like started watching and didn't finish watching? And I remembered the Boondocks. I had watched the first two seasons of the Boondocks, like the animated show. And I was like, you know, I got seasons 3 and 4 on DVD also, and I just never watched them yet. So I've been watching that again, and watching season 3 of that. And I don't think it'll take me too long to watch all of that because those are only half-hour episodes. That show is so good. If you haven't seen the Boondocks before, it is such a good show. I know that it's like some of the jokes and the comedy of it and stuff are probably a little bit outdated. Well, not even probably. They are a little bit outdated and stuff by today's standards. But man, that show is just so funny. You can find a lot of clips of it on YouTube and stuff because it got memed a lot and everything. And yeah, it's... God, what a show. Another show too that I've been thinking about watching, totally different than the Boondocks, but Jimmy Neutron. I actually, when I was at work the other day, I was thinking a lot about Jimmy Neutron because, you know, so I have normal cable, kind of like a very basic cable package, and I'm not even the one that really uses it that much. So a lot of the TV that I watch is like stuff on Pluto TV, so like the free ad-supported streaming services and stuff. And Pluto TV has a version of Nickelodeon, and they only really play a couple different shows. There's really not that much on there, and there's really not anything new on there. But there's a lot of Fairly Odd Parents, which is nice because Fairly Odd Parents is one of my favorite shows. Sometimes there will be a bunch of SpongeBob. Sometimes there will be a bunch of Loud House. I remember they had, I think it was the Thundermans, which is a show that kind of came out after I sort of grew out of Nickelodeon. But I really like SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents, which feels a little bit insane to say as a man in my mid-20s. But I grew up watching those shows and everything, so I really enjoy them. But there was this one like month where Pluto TV's Nick channel was showing Jimmy Neutron, and it's one of those things where I remember Jimmy Neutron pretty clearly because there are some like memes and stuff of Jimmy Neutron that have come out. So it's one of those things that it's a show that's sort of never really left my mind because I still wander across stuff about it. But I hadn't actually sat down and watched a full episode of Jimmy Neutron in like a really long time. And I really enjoy Jimmy Neutron, and honestly, I have a couple of like the cartoons that I like to watch when I was younger. I have like the complete collections on DVD and stuff. I really need to find a complete Jimmy Neutron collection because I didn't even realize there's actually not that many episodes of Jimmy Neutron. That show was only on for like 3 seasons. But yet when I was younger, it felt like that show was on forever. Yeah, that, and I really would like to get Fairly Odd Parents complete collection as well. I have Danny Phantom, and I need to sit down and watch that the whole way through sometime too. But yeah, when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, SpongeBob, and I guess Danny Phantom also. But I don't really think I saw that much Danny Phantom. Danny Phantom's kind of a weird, well, okay, I don't even think weird is an appropriate word for it. Danny Phantom's an interesting show because I feel like it's like it was a little bit more mature than other stuff on Nickelodeon, because a lot of stuff on Nickelodeon, like the main characters are like elementary schoolers, middle schoolers, like Jimmy Neutron and Timmy Turner, for example, are younger kids. And even shows where the characters are supposed to be like adults, like SpongeBob and stuff, they're very lighthearted. Whereas Danny Phantom was actually a little more serious, and Danny is like, I think that he's 14 when the show starts, and he's like 16 by the time the show ends. So he's in high school. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know why cartoons have been on my mind so much lately, but they have been. Oh, so another thing too that I've been meaning to talk about on stream that I just haven't been able to yet because all the crazy stuff that happened with that ice storm and everything. I've been messing around with some emulator stuff. So, I wasn't really like a huge fan of emulators for a while. I wasn't really against them, but in my opinion, I was like, if I own the console and I own the game, I might as well just play it on the actual console or whatever. And also, I feel like there's a lot of people who use emulators for piracy, and I'm kind of anti-piracy. I know that some people are like very pro-piracy and stuff, and I don't know. I feel like it's a little strange because I feel like saying that I'm against piracy makes some people angry sometimes, but also like as somebody who makes things myself, I wouldn't want somebody to steal something that I worked on. But anyway, so. But I actually looked up like how to get some of these emulators set up and everything, and long story short, and this kind of all started because a while ago I wanted to play a SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom mod. I wanted to play that Halloween mod that I ended up playing on stream, and so in the process of figuring out how to get Dolphin set up and everything, I also decided to mess around with RPCS3 and PCSX2, which those are PS3 and PS2 emulators respectively. And they actually weren't that hard to get set up. RPCS3 is probably one of the easiest emulators to set up, I think, because it really doesn't require that much. PCSX2, to set it up legitly, can be a little bit like of a process because you have to get your PS2's BIOS, um, which isn't that hard, but it's a little bit of work. But I got all that set up and everything, and you know, games on PCSX2 look really nice. I actually have been thinking about like trying to play through a couple of games on there fully because there's a bunch of PS2 games that I just never played that I want to play, and it's like if they run better and they look better playing it on an emulator, and I've done it the legit way and everything, dumped my own PS2 BIOS, dumped my own games and everything, like, why not? I don't really think I'm gonna record any videos or anything from there right now, but it could be interesting in the future just because there's a lot of mods for games, like even console games, that will run in emulators, and sometimes they will run on actual hardware too. Like when I showed that mod for Battle for Bikini Bottom, and I played it on an actual Wii. Yeah, I have some looking into stuff to do. Actually, with RCPS or RPC, I think it's RPCS3 if I remember right. Infamous 2, I've been messing around with some stuff with Infamous 2, and I actually might have some cool videos coming out related to that. I have an idea related to Infamous 2's UGC, and also a idea related to modding Infamous 2, and just kind of game modding in general. And I have to experiment with it some more. I really haven't been able to sort of sit down and do that. But hopefully at some point I can do so. Because I think that stuff will make some really interesting videos. What is this saying? YouTube is just saying. This is so funny. Now that my internet's working again, YouTube's like, your stream's bitrate is way higher than the recommended bitrate. Okay, bro. I don't see anything breaking. Gosh. What was I gonna say? I had more things to say about that, but I don't remember what they were. I have a really, really cool video related to modding some stuff. An idea that I have that I mean, I know it already works. I've actually mentioned it before and kind of shown it in some other videos, but I've just never made a tutorial on how I managed to get it to work. So I really want to take some time and do that. It's hard when I've had so much other stuff going on with like that storm, and then the recovery from that storm, and then looking for a new job, and then I had a bunch of other stuff to do. But I've been very productive lately over the past few days. And another cool thing, I am going to be making a cameo in another YouTuber's video, and I'm not gonna say who it is or spoil it or anything because I don't know if she would actually want me to mention it at all. But it's somebody that like you guys might already know. Like I've not I really haven't collaborated with anybody in general on this channel, but she was / is like a mutual of mine from Twitter and Blue Sky when I was using those. I haven't really used those in a while though, and I don't think she does either. But anyway, when I went off of Blue Sky, I had given her my email address, and I was like, hey, if you ever want to like collaborate on something, just hit me up. And so yeah, she emailed me the other day and asked if I wanted to do a little voice cameo in one of her upcoming videos, and I was like, heck yeah, I do. So I recorded that, and it should be really cool. I don't actually entirely know what the video's about. I think she said in the email, but I've already forgotten. But the other cool thing is she has like a way bigger channel than me too, so hopefully it will help my channel out a little bit. And once the video actually comes out, I'll be sure to like link it somewhere here so that way you guys can go watch it, because I'm sure it'll be a really good video. I don't think she has uploaded anything in a while, but her videos that are uploaded are really good quality, so I'm sure that this upcoming video that she's making is going to be very good. But that little voice clip actually served as a good motivator to kind of kick me into action over the few days, because like having to do something for somebody else, especially for like a YouTube video thing, like something that I enjoy, like I woke up, like she had emailed me the one day and I didn't see it until kind of later that day, like at night. And so the next morning I woke up and the first thing that I did was record that voice cameo. and then that kind of just sent me on like a journey of just getting stuff done. So I did that voice cameo. I made a free McBoot memory card for my PS2, kind of, which relates to the whole emulator thing. I already had made a free DVD boot DVD, and I figured I might as well make the free McBoot memory card while I was at it, so that way it would be easier, because free DVD boot can be a little iffy, especially if your disc gets scratched or anything like that. So I did that. Something that I was very glad to finally do, I labeled my flash drives, which sounds super nerdy, but I have a ton of flash drives, and I use a bunch of them for different things. Some of them they're almost like a little archive. Like I have this one that I've had forever, since like elementary school, that has a bunch of just old things that I worked on in school and stuff, and like I have some YouTube videos that before I even had a YouTube channel, I think, that one of my friends and I made, and so those are cool to like keep around. And then I have another one that has a bunch of like my papers that I wrote when I was in college and grad school, because that's actually really useful sometimes if you ever plan on applying to certain jobs, or if you ever plan on applying to higher education again. When I applied to grad school, I was very glad I still had copies of some of my essays from undergrad, because they actually asked for examples of my writing. And then I have some other flash drives. I've got like one that has a Windows installer on it. I've got one that has an Ubuntu installer on it. Just kind of useful things to keep around. I should make one that has some form of Mac OS installer on it. Gosh. I've got one that's like really big. It's like 128 gigabytes that I've been using for the emulator stuff that I was mentioning, for like dumping games, because if you want to dump PS3 games, the easiest way to do that is with a PS3 and then transfer it to your computer. And I don't really feel like messing with doing that over a network or anything, even though I know that there's plenty of people who do it that way, so I'd rather just copy it to the flash drive and do it that way. But yeah, speaking of networking and stuff, also another kind of tangent here. What I was saying, so my internet has been working again, but my family and I have been considering getting different internet nonetheless, even though it's working again now, just because we got really frustrated with the whole thing, with our internet speed being like so ridiculously slow for an extended period of time. So there's a chance we may upgrade to fiber internet actually, and if we do, I could very possibly be able to stream in 4K in the future, but I'm not totally sure. TVR Tuscan. Actually, I might come back to some of these races, because I have some races unlocked in the championship series. Here's the endurance races that I was talking about also. That D class one is the one that I had the Drivatar do. The only thing is I'm a little worried about doing it that way, because like there's still a lot of levels I have to go to get to the like final race, which is this one, which is level 50 to unlock it. I'm only at level 30 now. Yeah, this is a long game. Like I was talking to one of my coworkers the other day just about video games and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I've been playing Forza Motorsport on and off for like, wow, I was like I've been actually been playing that on and off for like 2 years straight. So if I remember right, this Integra is my best D-class vehicle, so I'll probably go ahead and use that. Oh, also, now that my internet is working again, I have some playthroughs that I recorded. I know I mentioned this on like my Ice Storm videos, but I recorded some playthroughs, 2 of them in particular, shorter ones of shorter games, but I want to edit and upload those soon, especially because I've noticed that Wolf's playthroughs actually has been doing very good, even though I don't really do that much on there and I don't really promote it or anything. Or not Wolf's playthroughs, Wolf's long plays. The channel where I put long play versions of all the playthroughs that I do. That channel has gained like 100 subscribers without me really doing anything other than just re-uploading the playthroughs as long plays. So I really need to do some more of that, because, and you know, it doesn't really surprise me that much though, because I know that there's a lot of people. That's not very chill. Oh my god, what has occurred? Wait, hang on. I gotta remember, how do I even reverse in this game? Okay, I'm gonna have to restart this race. That turned into a mess. Which, yeah, what I was saying, I understand why Wolf's Long Plays has gained a lot of subscribers, though, because sometimes... Wow, that was a weird voice crack. I didn't even voice crack. My voice just disappeared. Sometimes, like, playthrough channels like that are no commentary, like, just gameplay, sometimes channels like that do really well, and I understand why, because I actually even but watch some channels like that myself. There's this one channel, it's Aaron Monroe, and I might as well give him a shout out. It's ARRONMUNROE, I think is how it's spelled, all one word, all lowercase. And he uploads playthroughs of, well, he uploads a bunch of different long plays of different things, but I mainly watch because he does long plays of arcade games sometimes, which is really cool because you can't really play those at home often, so it's cool to be able to see the entirety of an arcade game, because a lot of times it can be hard to play through an arcade game entirely, because for one, it can cost quite a bit of money, because, you know, each individual play is going to cost money. But even at like if you're at one of those arcades where everything's set, like it's entrance fee and everything's set to free to play, it's kind of even hard sometimes to do a full playthrough of a game at arcades like that, because other people want to play the games too. I've really only ever played through like 2 games completely in an arcade, maybe 3. I played through I think it was the original Time Crisis one time at like a hotel arcade on a vacation. I think I played Let's Go Jungle the entire way through as a little kid at a Chuck E. Cheese one time. And most recently, I actually played through the entirety of Carnival at one of those entrance fee arcades, because I got there really early in the day. Nobody else was really there, and I don't think anybody else really cared to play Carnival. And I was always curious to play through that entire game, because when I was younger, that's a little bit of a personal kind of connection game. My dad and I played Carnival a bunch at this one little arcade when I was younger. It was like we had moved from this one place to another place, and we were like in a hotel, and so we were in the process of moving, and I remember we were playing Carnival at this arcade. I don't even remember what arcade it was or anything, but yeah. Which was nice. And you know, now that I think about it, there was another arcade that my dad and I always meant to go to, and we never did. And then that whole business actually like skyrocketed later on. I remember my dad looked into it a couple years later, and they had like expanded and stuff. But anyway, that is totally off of what I was originally saying. So playthrough channels and stuff, I understand why they can be popular, like, because alongside playing games that maybe are hard to find and stuff, or that like maybe, because it's like, for me, I'm kind of like, you know, I don't know, like, I understand watching a playthrough of a game, like an arcade game or whatever, because you can't really own arcade games often. It's hard to play through the entire game, like I was saying. But then it's like, oh, you know, why would you watch a playthrough of like a PS3 game or whatever? But then it kind of hit me that not everybody's a weirdo like me who owns all of their video game consoles still. Like, there's a lot of people out there who never owned a PS3, never owned an Xbox 360, or even if they did, like, they had to sell it at some point because they wanted to get the new console, or they gave it to a sibling, or whatever it might be. And they just never have bought one back. And so then it's kind of like, well, now I get it, because it's like, that's the same situation as why I would watch an arcade game playthrough. But you know, I was mentioning my dad a second ago, he kind of ties back into this too. He is exactly the type of person who would watch playthroughs of games on YouTube and stuff. Because my dad was not like a huge gamer. My dad liked video games. He owned a handful of video games himself. And he would play video games with me and stuff, but he wasn't really like a huge gamer, but he liked seeing video games. Like, he liked seeing the stories of video games and stuff. For example, like, he was really into James Bond. I'm saying like a lot in this stream. He was into James Bond. He was a big fan of James Bond. And so he enjoyed seeing the video games be played through as well. And so he's the type of person that would watch that type of stuff. And now, like, when I consider it that kind of thing, I understand why that channel has grown the way it has without really doing anything. But also, speaking of ideas, there's another idea too that I have that I originally was thinking about putting on this channel, and I'm not gonna say what it is because I kind of want to see how it'll do on its own. But I have another idea of a type of video that I was thinking about making, partially inspired by the ice storm videos that I made. And I may make a third channel just to experiment with it a little bit and see how those goes. See how those go, and if they go well, if I want to keep making them on a separate channel, or if I'd want to make them here, or what it might be. It's a concept that I've seen before that I remember was popular when I was younger that seems to be having a resurgence. So I kind of want to experiment with it myself a little bit, but we'll see. I don't know when I'll even be able to do that. But the types of videos that I'm thinking of are actually really simple. So I don't think it would be that hard for me to make a couple of those on the side and just mess around with them. I do have some longer videos for this channel though that they're just taking me forever to get through because I just keep working on them only a tiny bit at a time. I haven't been able to sit down and actually just edit stuff or record audio or record gameplay or whatever. I've got a couple of videos that I've just been slowly working on for 2 months, maybe longer, that I really just need to do. But that productivity kick that I got a couple days ago that kind of lasted for a few days really has helped because I organized so much stuff. I took care of a bunch of real life stuff that was taking me forever. So I'm glad to finally have a bunch of that taken care of and everything. And so now I actually have some free time. Plus, the whole thing with being stuck inside with that ice storm, I actually saved like a bunch of money by just not going anywhere for 2-ish weeks. And so now I've been like, man, I just need to not do stuff anymore if I want to save up money. I really need to just not go places because it's one of those things where even if you have a specific goal in mind when you go somewhere, there's always other things that end up squeezing money out of you, you know? The other day, for example, I went grocery shopping for the first time at like Walmart ever since the ice storm. So this is the first time I've been to Walmart in like 3 weeks or something like that. And I just wanted to get some groceries, get some stuff for like my lunches for work, things like that. And in the process, of course, though, I go down the clearance aisle and they have like a ton of Xbox Series games on sale. And so I ended up buying a bunch of them. And I mean, I got them for really cheap, but at the same point, that ended up making my grocery shopping probably $60-ish more expensive, yeah. And it's like, well, dang it, this is exactly why all my money goes somewhere whenever I go outside. Because even though I'm a pretty focused guy, you know, it's hard to ignore. It's hard to ignore deals when you find them along the way, you know. But anyway, I know it's kind of abrupt, but it is. I just looked at the clock and realized that it is almost 2 a.m. for me, and I am really tired. But it was nice to finally do another stream. So thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to go ahead and end the stream there. I don't know when the next stream will be or anything, just because, like, my life has been really kind of frazzled. The whole ice storm thing really screwed a lot of stuff up, because alongside screwing up everything, that it screwed up itself. Also, now with my kind of rush to find another job because of being frustrated with my current job, that is taking a while. And then if I do find another job, like, that might be kind of confusing because I might have a totally different work schedule. So I don't know how that might affect stuff on the channel, or if I have to interview for that. Well, I mean, I'm going to have to interview for that job, but if I have to interview for any other jobs, if I end up getting called by any other jobs or anything. So yeah, it is all over the place right now. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the stream.